Welcome to the deep dive. Ever stared at a European wine label and felt like you needed a decoder ring for all those letters?
It can definitely feel that way.
Today we're plunging into let's say, the fascinating world of European wine appellation systems. We want to decode that very alphabet soup for you.
That's right. We'll be drawing on insights from Decodificando as Leis do Vinho Europeu and Sistemas de Apelação Europeas. Guia completo sobre rolar de sommelier.
Yeah, drawing on those to make sense of it all. Our mission today, to demystify those cryptic acronyms, AOC, DOCG, DO, all the rest, and really show how these systems work.
And how they protect the wine's quality, its origin.
Exactly. Ultimately giving you, the listener, a real shortcut to understanding European wine labels without needing, years of sommelier training.
And it's fascinating when you realize those letters aren't just random. They actually tell a story.
A story? How so?
Well, a story about the wine's background, a commitment to certain standards, often long-held traditions.
Absolutely. It can feel like a secret code sometimes. But hopefully by the end of this deep dive, you'll have a much better handle on what those letters truly mean.
Definitely.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with France. They really sort of laid the groundwork with the AOC system.
They really did. The Appellation d'origine contrôlée, AOC, it has quite a history really getting established back in the early 20th century.
And why then? What was the trigger?
Well, the main driver was the need to combat fraud, which was apparently quite widespread.
Right.
And also to protect the reputation of regional products, especially wine. Phylloxera had devastated vineyards, and then you had some, let's say, less scrupulous practices popping up.
So quality control became urgent.
Exactly. And that's where the Institut National des Appellations d'Origine, the INAO, came in. They were set up to oversee and regulate these appellations.
So it wasn't just about, a fancy label. It was practical. Building trust.
Very practical, ensuring quality.
Okay. Now, the AOC isn't just one single thing across France, is it? There's a structure there.
Oh, definitely. Think of it like a pyramid. It gets more specific, more demanding as you go up.
Okay, a pyramid. Let's start at the base then.
At the bottom, you have Vin de France.
Yeah.
You might remember the old term Vin de Table.
Yes.
This is the most basic level. No specific geographical area required, really.
Yeah.
It gives producers a lot of flexibility in sourcing grapes and how they make the wine.
Right. Maximum freedom, lowest rung. What's next?
Moving up, you get IGP, that stands for Indication Géographique Protégée.
Which used to be Vin de Bay.
Exactly, Vin de Pays. IGPs cover broader geographical areas than AOCs,
Yeah.
and the rules are less strict.
So still quite flexible.
Yeah, it allows for maybe more innovation. Winemakers can often use grape varieties that wouldn't be allowed in a tighter AOC from the same general area.
Okay. More regional character than Vin de France, but still room to play. Now we reach the AOC itself. This is where it gets serious.
This is where things get much more defined, geographically speaking.
Yeah.
AOCs are precisely mapped areas,
Right.
and they come with strict rules, really strict, covering almost everything.
Like what specific?
Oh, which grape varieties are allowed maximum yield, so how many grapes you can grow per hectare.
Okay.
Specific viticultural practices, so how you grow the grapes, and the winemaking techniques themselves.
Wow. And even within the AOC category, there are layers.
Yes, exactly. Further layers of geographical precision.
Okay, let's peel those back. We start broad with regional AOCs.
Correct. Regional AOCs cover, relatively large areas. Think of the entire Bordeaux region, or all of Bourgogne and Burgundy.
Right.
The rules here are generally a bit broader than for the smaller appellations inside those regions.
Then we zoom in a bit to sub-regional AOCs. Give us an example.
Sure. Think of the Medoc within Bordeaux. That's a sub-region. It has its own AOC rules tailored more to the Medoc's specific characteristics. Or the Côte de Nuit within Burgundy. Same idea.
Got it. And then the most pinpointed level is communal or village AOCs.
Exactly right. These usually cover just a single village or commune. Pauillac in Bordeaux is a classic example. Gevrey-Chambertin in Burgundy.
And these have the very strictest rules.
Generally, yes. They're often associated with wines that really express the specific character of that very local terroir.
Now, I've also seen Premier Cru and Grand Cru, especially on Burgundy labels, sometimes Champagne too. Where did they fit in?
Good question. Those are classifications within certain AOCs, usually the village level ones. They designate specific vineyard sites, climats, as they call them in Burgundy, that are considered exceptional.
So even more specific than the village.
Yes. A Premier Cru vineyard is a plot known historically for high quality. Grand Cru is, well, the best of the best, the absolute top sites with the most exceptional terroir.
Wow.
And the rules for Grand Cru wines are usually the most demanding of all. Champagne has a similar idea for its best villages, too. It's like a hierarchy within the hierarchy.
A quality hierarchy within an already top zone. Makes sense. It highlights the truly special spots.
No.
Okay, to make this really concrete, let's see how the AOC system works in practice. Let's look at some key French regions. Bordeaux seems like a good place to start. Many people know Bordeaux wines.
Sure. Bordeaux is famous for its blends, isn't it? Mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc for reds.
And whites, too.
And Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon for whites, yes. The AOC system there really highlights regional differences.
Like left bank versus right bank.
Exactly. The left bank Medoc, Graves, with its gravel soils, generally favors Cabernet Sauvignon. That leads to more structured, perhaps more tannic wines when young.
Okay.
The right bank Saint-Emilion, Pomerol, more clay, more limestone, that's Merlot country. Often softer, maybe more approachable wines.
I see.
And then you have very specific AOCs like Sauternes, which is all about those amazing sweet wines made with noble rot.
Right.
So the AOC on a Bordeaux bottle tells you a lot, not just the place, but likely the grape mix, the style.
It's a real signpost for the consumer. Okay, what about Burgundy? Totally different vibe, right? Mostly single grapes.
Completely different. Burgundy is all about showcasing Pinot Noir for reds, Chardonnay for whites, and how those single grapes express a very specific patch of ground, the climate.
So terroir is everything there.
It's paramount.
Yeah.
The AOC hierarchy, from regional Bourgogne up through the villages to those Premier and Grand Crus, it's all designed to highlight tiny differences in terroir.
Tiny differences.
Oh, yes. You can have vineyards right next to each other in different AOCs or crus, producing wines with really distinct personalities. It all comes down to the soil, the slope, the microclimate, what the French call terroir.
Incredible detail. Okay, let's head south. The Rhone Valley. What do the AOCs tell us there?
The Rhone is often talked about as two regions, really, north and south.
Okay.
In the northern Rhone, Syrah is king. Think of AOCs like Côte-Rôtie, Hermitage, powerful, complex, often age-worthy Syrah.
Right.
Then you go south, and it's much more about blends. Châteauneuf-du-Pape is the famous one, allowing up to 13 grapes, though Grenache usually dominates.
13. Wow.
Yeah. So southern Rhone AOCs generally mean fuller-bodied, perhaps fruitier wines compared to the north.
Yeah.
The AOC gives you a strong clue. Structured Syrah, or a Grenache-based blend.
Very useful. And the Loire Valley. That's known for diversity, isn't it?
Huge diversity. The Loire AOCs really show how different grapes express different terroirs along the river.
Examples.
Well, you've got Sauvignon Blanc and Sancerre and Pouilly-Fumé crisp, minerally whites. Then Chenin Blanc and Vouvray, it can be anything from bone dry and sparkling to incredibly sweet dessert wines.
Fascinating range from one grape.
It really is. And then Cabernet Franc for the reds in places like Chinon. The AOC is key because each one is often tied to a specific grape and a very characteristic style.
Okay. And finally, for France, Champagne. The AOC is pretty unique, right? Just one thing.
Pretty much just one thing. Sparkling wine made by the Méthode Traditionnelle.
The classic method.
Yes. Secondary fermentation in the bottle. The Champagne AOC rules are incredibly strict. They cover the grapes, mainly Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Meunier. Minimum aging times on the lees. Even the minimum pressure inside the bottle.
Pressure, really?
Oh, yes. So seeing Champagne AOC guarantees a sparkling wine made to a very specific high standard using those traditional methods.
So across France, a really intricate system, protecting origin, guiding quality, giving us clues. Okay, let's hop over the border. Italy, DOC and DOCG.
Right, Italy's system. Denominazione di origine controllata,
Yeah.
DOC, and the higher tier, Denominazione di origine controllata e garantita, DOCG.
Inspired by France.
Yeah, definitely inspired by the French AOC. The DOC came first in the 1960s. Then DOCG was added in the 1980s for the perceived top-tier wines.
Okay.
And it's worth knowing, these basically align with the EU's overall PDO category, Protected Designation of Origin.
Got it. So similar goals to France, protecting origin and quality. But what's the key difference between DOC and DOCG?
Both define the geographical area, the allowed grapes, production methods, minimum quality stuff, but DOCG is stricter, has often smaller production zones within the DOCG. Lower maximum yields allowed in the vineyard, usually longer mandatory aging times before release,
Okay.
and a much tougher quality control process. DOCG wines usually have to pass a sensory analysis by a tasting panel and even a final ministerial tasting.
Wow, a ministerial tasting.
Yes, and approved bottles get a numbered government seal around the neck. That seal is the Garantita. It's a guarantee.
That does sound serious. A guarantee. So DOC is good quality, and origin, DOCG, is theoretically a step above with stricter checks.
That's the idea, yes.
Let's look at some regions. Piemonte in the Northwest, famous wines there.
Absolutely. Piemonte is home to Barolo and Barbaresco DOCGs, icons of Italian wine.
Based on Nebbiolo.
Based on the Nebbiolo grape, yeah.
Right.
Barolo DOCG has very specific zones, requires quite long aging, often including years in oak. Makes powerful, tannic wines that need time.
Right.
Barbaresco DOCG nearby, also Nebbiolo, but slightly different rules. A shorter minimum aging. Often seen as maybe a touch more elegant or approachable earlier, but still serious wines.
And there are DOCs there, too.
Oh, yes. Important ones like Dolcetto d'Alba, DOC, Barbera d'Asti, DOC. Different grapes, different styles, often more fruit-forward and ready sooner.
Okay. Let's move south to Tuscany, Sangiovese territory. How do DOC and DOCG work there?
Tuscany and Sangiovese, exactly. The DOCGs are crucial. Chianti Classico DOCG, look for the black rooster, the Gallo Nero symbol.
Yes.
That comes from the historic heartland of Chianti, with much stricter rules than the broader Chianti DOC.
Okay.
Then you have Brunello di Montalcino DOCG. That's 100% Sangiovese Grosso, a specific clone. Big, powerful wines needing significant aging. Very strict rules.
And Vino Nobile, that name always confuses me.
Vino Nobile di Montepulciano DOCG. Yes, confusing because it's not the Montepulciano grape. It's primarily Sangiovese. Again, locally called Prugnolo Gentile, another distinct expression.
Right.
And you also find Rosso di Montalcino DOC, often called Baby Brunello, made from the same grape but released younger. So even with one main grape, the DOCG signals very specific zones, rules, and styles.
It really shows how the Italian system links grape, place, and rules, adds value, recognition.
Absolutely. It ties the wine to its terroir and tradition.
Let's head northeast. Veneto. Lots of different wines there.
Veneto's fascinating. You've got Amarone della Valpolicella DOCG, that unique wine made from partially dried grapes, the Passito method.
Right. Concentrates everything.
Exactly. Rich, powerful wines. Then you have Prosecco di Conegliano Valdobia Dene DOCG. It's the high-quality heartland for Prosecco, made mainly from the Glera grape, focuses on freshness, aromatics.
Different from the standard Prosecco DOC.
Generally, yes. Stricter rules, specific hilly terroir. And Veneto also has the broader Valpolicella DOC and Soave DOC for crisp whites from the Garganega grape. The system helps navigate that variety.
It really seems DOC and DOCG are vital for understanding Italian wine heritage and quality. Okay, Spain next. DO and DOCa.
Yes, Spain's system. Denominación de Origen, DO, and the top tier, Denominación de Orden Calificada.
DOCa. How did their system develop?
Well, the idea of regulated regions goes back, but the formal DO structure really took shape around the 1930s. The DOCa level, though, is much newer, introduced only in 1991.
1991, okay. Later than Italy's DOCG.
Yes. And like the others, these Spanish terms align with the EU's PDO and PGI categories.
Got it. So what's the hierarchy in Spain? How does it stack up?
It starts with Vino de Mesa, the basic table wines, no specific region needed.
Okay.
Then Vinos de la Tierra. Broader regions, fewer rules, kind of like an IGP,
Right.
than the main level.
Yeah.
DO, Denominación de Origen, defined areas, specific rules on grapes, yields, winemaking, quality. This covers most quality Spanish wine regions.
And the top. DOCa.
DOCa, Denominación de Origen Calificada. This is the highest level. To get DOCa status, a region needs to have been a DO for at least 10 years and show consistent high quality.
How many regions have DOCa status?
Currently just 2, Rioja and Priorat.
Only 2. Interesting. And there's one more category. Vino de Pago.
Ah, yes, Vino di Pago. That's quite unique. It recognizes individual states, single properties, with exceptional terroir and proven quality.
So not a region, but one specific estate.
Exactly. The rules are specific to that Pago, that estate. It's a recognition of single estate excellence.
Fascinating. Okay, let's look at some key regions. Rioja DOCa, probably the most famous Spanish wine internationally.
Definitely a cornerstone. Rioja DOCa in northern Spain. Mainly known for reds from Tempranillo, often blended with Garnacha, Graciano, Mazuelo.
And they have those aging terms, Crianza, Reserva.
Exactly. Crianza, Reserva, Grand Reserva. Each has specific minimum times required in oak barrels and in the bottle before release. That's a key part of the Rioja identity.
And they make whites and rosés too.
They do. Whites mainly from Viura, Malvasia, Garnacha Blanca, rosés too. The DOCa rules cover all styles to ensure the Rioja typicity.
What about Ribera del Duero DO, another big name for reds?
Ribera del Duero DO, yes. Also in Castilla y León. Known for powerful structured reds almost entirely from Tinto Fino. That's their local name for Tempranillo.
So also Tempranillo, but a different style to Rioja.
Often, yes. The
Yeah.
climate and soils are different. Ribera del Duero wines can be very intense, very age-worthy. The DO focuses on showcasing that power and structure.
And Priorat DOCa, the other top-tier region, what's special there?
Priorat DOCa in Catalonia, it's visually stunning, steep, terraced vineyards. And the soil is unique, this black slate called licorella.
Licorella, okay.
The wines, mainly from Garnacha and Cariñena, are incredibly intense, concentrated with a distinct mineral edge from that soil. The DOCA status reflects that unique terroir and wine style.
Wow. What about some other important DOs? Spain has so many regions.
Oh, absolutely. Penedès DO, that's the heartland for Cava DO, Spain's famous sparkling wine.
Right, Cava.
Rueda DO is all about fresh, aromatic whites from the Verdejo grape. Rias Baix DO, up in Galicia, northwestern Spain, fantastic Albarino whites, often with a salty tang.
Albarino, yes.
Then you have Toro DO making powerful reds from Tinta de Toro, another Tempranillo variant. And down south, Humilla DO is known for rich reds from Monastrell.
So many.
And each DO has its own rules shaping the wines, reflecting the local grapes and conditions. It really fosters Spain's incredible diversity while ensuring quality.
It's clear the Spanish system, DO and DOCa, really defines their wine identity. Okay, let's cross the peninsula. Portugal, DOC and DOP.
Portugal's system, yes. Denominación de Origen Controlada, DOC, and Denominación de Origen Protegida, DOP.
Similar development.
Formalized more in the 20th century and then harmonized with EU rules when Portugal joined. Importantly, in Portugal, DOC and DOP often mean the same thing in practice, covering the top tier.
Okay, so DOC-DOP is the main quality level. What's the structure below that?
Below DOC-DOP, you have Vinho Regional, that's like an IGP, covering broader areas with more flexible rules, and at the base, just Vinho, basic wine with no specific origin.
Got it. And the DOC-DOP level, what do the rules cover?
They define the precise areas, of course. And crucially, the permitted grapes. Portugal has a huge treasure trove of unique indigenous varieties, and the DOCs often protect these.
That's great to hear. Emphasis on native grapes.
Very much so. The rules also cover yields, grape growing, winemaking, and mandatory quality checks, lab analysis, and a tasting panel evaluation.
Okay. Let's talk about some key Portuguese DOCs, DOPs. Douro and Port are probably the most famous.
Absolutely. The Douro DOC region, where port wine is also made under its own Vinho do Porto DOP rules, is spectacular. Those steep terrace vineyards along the river.
Iconic image.
It really is. They grow lots of native grapes, Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, Tito Roriz, many others. The region makes fantastic dry red wines under the Douro DOC, some great whites too, and of course the world-famous fortified port wines. It's a powerhouse region.
What about Vinho Verde DOC? Up in the northwest, different style entirely.
Totally different. Vinho Verde DOC is known for those light, fresh, often slightly spritzy white wines.
Spritzy, right?
Usually lower in alcohol, high acidity. Made from local grapes like Alvarinho, Loureiro, Arinto, perfect summer wines. And within Vinho Verde, the Monsalm y Melgaço subregion is especially noted for top-quality Alvarinho.
Good to know. And heading south, Alentejo DOC, warmer climate.
Much warmer, drier down in Alentejo in the south. That leads to generally fuller-bodied red wines. Think Aragonés, which is Tempranillo again, Trincadeira, Alicante, Boucher.
Okay.
The white wines from Alentejo are often quite aromatic too, from grapes like Anton Vaz, Arinto, Rupero. The DOC reflects that warmer climate style richness, intensity.
Portugal clearly has amazing diversity. Any other regions we should briefly mention?
Oh, definitely. Down DOC, inland, known for elegant reds. Barada DOC, coastal, famous for sparkling wines and reds from the Baga grape.
Baga.
Lisboa VR, Vinho Regional, covers a huge area around Lisbon with many DOCs within it. Peninsula de Setúbal DOC is known for reds and sweet moscatel. And don't forget the islands Madeira DOC and Açores DOC, plus the Algarve DOC in the far south. Each has its own unique character protected by the system.
It seems the Portuguese DOC-DOP system is absolutely vital for protecting those native grapes and regional styles.
It really is. It safeguards that unique heritage and diversity.
Okay, we've covered the big four. But what about other European countries? Germany, Austria, Greece? They have systems too, right?
Absolutely. Many other European countries have rich wine traditions and their own appellation systems, often fitting within the EU's PDO-PGI framework, but with unique national twists.
Let's talk about Germany first. This system seems different, focusing on ripeness.
It is quite distinct. The German system historically prioritized grape ripeness at harvest, measured by must weight, the sugar level in the juice.
Okay.
The main quality level is Qualitätswein, often written as QBA, Qualitätswein bestimmter Anbaugebiete. This means a quality wine from one of the 13 specified regions.
Right.
Above that is Prädikatswein. This is where the ripeness levels really come in. Crucially, you cannot add sugar capitalized Prädikatswein.
And there are different levels within Prädikatswein.
Yes, a whole ladder based on increasing sugar levels at harvest.
Yeah.
Cabinet, Spätlese, Auslese, then the sweeter beer and Auslese, BA, Trockenbier and Auslese, TBA, and Eiswein, ice wine.
So the predicate tells you more about the style and sweetness potential than the specific vineyard, maybe.
Broadly speaking, yes. While origin is key for QBA, the predicate is primarily about the condition of the grapes at harvest. Cabinet from grapes just ripe, TBA from grapes like raisins.
Interesting contrast. What about Austria? Similar to Germany.
Here are some similarities. Austria also has Qualitätswein and Prädikatswein categories based on ripeness. But Austria has also introduced a very important system called DA Districtus Austriae Controllatus.
DAC, what's the focus there?
DC focuses squarely on regional typicity, specifically for dry wines. It defines the classic grape varieties for a specific region.
Ah, so more terroir-focused for dry wines.
Exactly. For example, Grüner Veltliner and Riesling are the key DAC grapes for regions like Wachau, Kremstal, Campdal. So DAC adds that place-specific layer, especially for dry styles, alongside the ripeness system.
Got it. And Greece. Ancient winemaking history there.
Indeed. Greece aligns with the EU system PDO and PGI. Their PDOs are really important for highlighting unique native Greek grapes and terroirs.
Such as?
Think PDO Santorini for Assyrtiko, PDO Nemea for Geographical, PDO Anosa for Ginamavro. The system is vital for protecting these indigenous varieties and regional identities.
Makes sense. And just briefly, other countries. Switzerland, Hungary?
Sure. Switzerland has its own regional appellations. Hungary, of course, has the unique DOCG system, with its Plutonio scale for sweetness in the Yazoo wines. Romania, Bulgaria, other Central and Eastern European countries are also refining their systems, often aligning with EU standards, to protect their wine heritage.
It's fascinating how diverse the philosophies are, terroir focus versus ripeness focus. But the underlying goal seems consistent, protecting origin and quality.
That's a good way to put it. Different paths to a similar goal.
Now, looking ahead, what challenges or trends might affect these systems?
Well, climate change is a big one, isn't it?
Huge.
It's already impacting grape ripening, potentially changing the character of established terroirs. Appellations might need to adapt, maybe allow different grape varieties, or adjust permitted practices.
That could be controversial.
Potentially, yes. Then there's globalization. How do these European systems effectively communicate their unique value, their authenticity, to a global audience that might not know the nuances?
Good point. Competition is fierce.
It is. And technology, new techniques in the vineyard and winery. How do you balance innovation with preserving the traditional identity and typicity that the appellation stands for?
Tricky balance.
And finally, consumer expectations are changing. More demand for transparency, for sustainability, organic or biodynamic certifications. Appellations might need to incorporate these aspects more formally.
So these systems aren't set in stone. They need to evolve.
They absolutely do. They're living systems. But their core role remains, I think, more important than ever.
Which is?
Preserving that incredible diversity of European wine, protecting native grapes, unique terroirs, traditional skills, providing that guarantee of quality and typicity, strengthening the overall reputation of European wine. They're guardians, in a way.
Guardians. I like that. Well, this has been a truly comprehensive deep dive into a complex but fascinating topic. Let's quickly recap the main takeaways for everyone listening.
Sounds good. I think the main point is that these systems, AOC, DOCG, DO, DOCa, DOP, DAC, Prädikatswein, all of them, they aren't just letters on a label.
Right. They mean something.
They really do. They're fundamental to understanding European wine. They offer a guarantee, or at least a strong indication, of origin and a certain quality standard.
Yeah.
And they protect the unique identities of countless wine regions across Europe.
So the next time you pick up a European wine, pause for a second. Look at that appellation. With what we've discussed today, maybe you can decipher a bit more. Think about what it might suggest about the wine's character, its story.
Oh, fine.
We really hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity to maybe explore some of these specific appellations that caught your ear. There's always more to discover.
Always.
Thanks so much for joining us on The Deep Dive.